The Serengeti. It's a sun-scorched ocean of grass where life and death play out on a grand chessboard, with nowhere to hide. Even the cheetah's legendary speed can be subdued by a troop of baboons. And the mighty lion's strength? Sometimes it bows to the sheer tenacity of a warthog. Out here, the outcome is always uncertain. I've always found it fascinating how these dramas unfold every single day. Right now, on the Serengeti Plains, it's the dry season. Most animals have sought refuge from the searing 32 degrees Celsius heat. But the cheetah, driven by an intense hunger, enjoys no such privilege. Hunger simply doesn't permit it to rest. The predator has found what seems to be the ideal ambush site. Even the shimmering heat haze can't obscure the vision of a creature capable of spotting prey from 5 kilometers away. And its target, a solitary warthog, a mere 50 meters distant, thick paw pads and that digitigrade stance, walking on its toes, allow the cheetah to approach in near silence. The tall grass helps conceal its slender frame, a silent ghost moving amidst the blinding sunlight. The gap closes to 30 meters. The cheetah has now entered its kill zone. In this range, its legendary acceleration achieves the highest success rate, and, crucially, the energy expenditure will be minimal. In just 3 seconds, the cheetah reaches a speed of 96 kilometers per hour. Its stride extends to 7 meters, thanks to a flexible spine that coils and uncoils like a spring, allowing the hind legs to reach far forward. Those semi-retractable claws dig deep into the ground like spikes, providing absolute traction. But the warthog is no easy target. Its speed is only about half that of the cheetah, around 50 kilometers per hour. However, a low center of gravity allows it to corner sharply, continuously running in a frustrating zigzag pattern. This forces the cheetah to swing its 80-centimeter long tail to maintain balance and stay glued to its prey. Then salvation appears for the warthog, an abandoned aardvark burrow. Most predators would surrender the moment the warthog retreats into such a burrow. But perhaps hunger has eclipsed the cheetah's instincts. It has won a high-stakes gamble, but the greatest risk now stems from the warthog's 25 to 50 centimeter long tusks. You see, when retreating into a burrow, warthogs rarely enter headfirst. Instead, they back their hindquarters in, so the armored head and sharp tusks face outward, acting as a solid line of defense. At this moment, the burrow becomes an impregnable fortress. Any cheetah or lion foolish enough to stick a paw or snout into that darkness faces a potentially penetrating gore. Many inexperienced predators have suffered torn noses or permanent blindness when attempting to breach this door of death. The warthog's upper tusks curve upwards, acting as whetstones for the lower set. Every time the mouth closes, the tusks grind against each other, creating a continuous self-sharpening mechanism. The result is a set of daggers so sharp they can slice through flesh with a mere shake of the head. And in the worst-case scenario, when no burrow for shelter, the warthog chooses the most violent solution: counterattack. A mature male warthog can weigh up to 100 kilograms, and when charging at nearly 50 kilometers per hour, that body generates terrifying kinetic energy. It's like a cannonball ramming straight into the enemy. For a slender cheetah, a bone-shattering impact is synonymous with a death sentence. But the warthog always prefers to avoid conflict with predators. They move silently through elephant grass that stands taller than their heads. The leader paves the way with its slender tail held upright at a 90-degree angle. The tuft of hair at the tip acts as a visual beacon for the others to follow. In this dense sea of grass, this signal helps the family maintain formation and prevents any member from getting separated. This discipline is a matter of survival. Because in the Serengeti, danger comes not only from the lightning-fast sprints of the cheetah. Spanning over 30,000 square kilometers, this ecosystem shoulders the largest animal biomass on the planet. 4,000 lions and approximately 1,000 leopards continuously patrol to maintain order every single day. Within that intricate food web, warthogs are biological plows. Their habit of digging for roots helps aerate the arid soil, promoting grass regeneration. Conversely, the cheetah keeps prey populations in check, culling weak and diseased genes from the herd. They are two silent warriors, each contributing to the ecosystem in their own unique way. For the warthog, Seronera is paradise, the central heart of the Serengeti. Here, vegetation remains eternally green, nourished by underground rivers flowing year-round. But this paradise comes at a steep price. Seronera is also the capital of apex predators. It is the domain of the most powerful lion prides in Africa. The lion's hunt for a warthog is a test of endurance. In theory, the lion is faster than the warthog. The king of the Savannah can execute bursts of speed, reaching 80 kilometers per hour. But their hearts are too small relative to their body size, and their dense muscle mass generates immense heat. As a result, they can only sprint for about 200 meters. The warthog is not naturally a long-distance athlete of the Serengeti. However, its compact body and efficient respiratory system allow it to maintain high speeds over longer distances than the lion. The endurance of the weak has defeated the explosive power of the strong. Escaping the life or death chases, now is the time for the warthog to enjoy relaxation at the highest level. Near termite mounds or dense thickets, we encounter a scene that looks like it stepped right out of a Hollywood movie. A warthog lying flat, allowing a troop of banded mongooses to climb all over its body. This image immediately brings to mind the duo Timon and Pumbaa from the classic film The Lion King. However, in the Serengeti, this is a serious and fair biological transaction, because they live their lives in mud and burrows. The warthog, in its own way, becomes a magnet for trouble. I've often thought about the invisible enemies in the wild, the ticks, fleas and lice that relentlessly plague these creatures. Without intervention, these parasites would overwhelm them, transmitting deadly diseases and rapidly deteriorating their health. But then the mongoose troop arrives. To them, the warthog's body is a mobile feast, a free and plentiful source of protein. They meticulously scour every fold of skin, even venturing into the ears and around the eyes to rid the warthog of these irritating ticks. It's a symbiotic dance so perfect that the warthog often enters a trance-like state, completely still, allowing these tiny cleaners to do their vital work. Yet, as those moments of relaxation fade, the brutal reality of survival returns with startling force. Not far off, concealed in the bush, lies one of the Serengeti's most silent and deadly predators, the leopard. The warthog, completely unaware, is in grave danger, just meters away. The leopard's rosette patterns are a masterpiece of camouflage, breaking up its outline, allowing it to seemingly disappear into the shifting light and shadow. Its eyes, 7 times sharper than our own, are locked onto the warthog's jugular vein. When the distance closes to less than 5 meters, the silence shatters and violence erupts. Unlike the cheetah, which relies on long-distance chases, the leopard's body is a powerhouse of fast twitch muscle. It prioritizes lightning-fast strikes, aiming to end the hunt quickly rather than engaging in prolonged pursuits. The hunt might be over, but the leopard's meal cannot begin just yet. Much like the cheetah, the leopard isn't deterred by the warthog's earthen burrows. To them, these burrows represent meals that require minimal effort to acquire. The leopard's partially reduced collarbones, almost floating clavicles, allow it to compress its shoulders and squeeze into the tightest spaces. But the leopard's victory is often short-lived. Even after finding the most secluded hidden spot to enjoy its meal, it's not truly safe. This is the moment when nature's harshest law is enforced. The strong take what they want. The leopard is fortunate to escape the claws of the savannah's true king. There's likely regret over the unfinished meal, but the leopard is unwilling to risk its life in a fight it knows it cannot win. A mature male leopard typically weighs between 60 to 80 kilograms. Meanwhile, a male lion is a biological tank, often exceeding 200 kilograms, nearly 3 times the weight of its opponent. The lion's bite force, around 650 pounds per square inch, can crush a rival's skull. The leopard is an agile and dexterous assassin, but in the realm of brute strength, the lion reigns supreme. Science refers to this phenomenon as kleptoparasitism. It's estimated that about 20% of the leopard's kills end up in the paws of lions or hyenas. This act of a lion stealing from smaller predators is a highly efficient energy-saving strategy. If I were a predator in the Serengeti, would I choose to be a lion, a leopard, or a cheetah? The cheetah, at least, isn't overly concerned with that question. On the southern plains of the Serengeti, lions are primarily present during the early months of the year, following the Great Migration. The flat, treeless terrain doesn't suit the hunting style of these savanna kings. This is the largest natural death racetrack on Earth, and on this open stage, the cheetah shines brightest. It's here that female cheetahs hunt Thompson's gazelles daily. The relentless press of hunger, coupled with the needs of their cubs, forces these predators into a state of hyperfocus. Every failed hunt could spell disaster for this solitary hunter. Statistics in the Serengeti are grim. Only about 5% of cheetah cubs survive to adulthood. Every sprint is a life-or-death gamble that a cheetah cannot afford to lose. The cheetah must approach openly, yet cautiously. The open terrain makes the predator easy to spot, and the hunt explodes the moment the gazelle detects danger and bolts. A formidable quarry indeed. But today is a lucky day. The predator and her cubs will no longer be tormented by hunger. However, the cheetah can't return to her cubs immediately. Her body temperature continues to rise, and even 20 minutes after the hunt, she is forced to rest. The tragedy of evolutionary trade-offs becomes clearer than ever following that incredibly tense siege. To become the fastest creature on the planet, the cheetah had to sign a harsh contract with nature. She sacrificed strength in exchange for speed. Her skeletal frame is slender and light as glass. To optimize aerodynamics, her claws are blunt, like track spikes, to grip the ground. She possesses no weapons for close-quarters combat, and her body is fragile, more vulnerable than ever. The cheetah is entirely alone and forced to calculate for the future. A single leg injury could spell the end. It is nothing less than a death sentence for a hunter reliant on speed. Most importantly, the cheetah remembers her cubs hidden nearby. If the baboons discover them, they will show no mercy. It is a calculated move to eliminate future competitive predators. Confronting baboons has never been a wise choice. Solitude is a fatal weakness for the female cheetah, but that is not a concern for the males. They form coalitions to hunt together and defend their kills. A cheetah coalition consists of 2 to 3 males, usually brothers from the same litter. This unity allows them to target larger and more dangerous prey. This blue wildebeest is a prime example. This is a high-risk physical gamble. An adult wildebeest can weigh up to 250 kilograms, 5 times the weight of a single cheetah. It is a leather-armored tank with curved horns and razor-sharp hooves, capable of crushing the skull of any attacker. For a solitary, the Serengeti. It's more than just the lion's kingdom or the cheetah's racetrack. It's a brutal hierarchy, a crowded space where every niche belongs to a specialized killer. For millions of years, these apex predators have been the architects of population control, keeping the gears of the ecosystem turning. Forget those cartoon images of cowardly scavengers. In the Serengeti, the spotted hyena is a true hunting machine, defined by its terrifying jaws. Nature has gifted them with a massive dome-shaped skull, anchoring dense blocks of jaw muscle. Because of this, their bite force can reach 100 pounds per square inch. That's stronger than both lions and leopards. The spotted hyena uses conical premolars to destroy physical structures. They're the only mammal in Africa capable of crushing the long bones of buffalo or giraffe. Their digestive system contains high concentrations of hydrochloric acid, allowing them to break down bone, teeth, and horn. Their meals often end with absolutely nothing left behind. It's a common misconception that hyenas are mere thieves, but long-term studies in the Serengeti have proven the opposite. Spotted hyenas hunt 70 to 95% of the food they consume. Unlike felines that rely on short bursts of explosive energy, the spotted hyena possesses a massive heart, constituting nearly 1% of its body weight. This allows them to maintain a speed of 60 kilometers per hour for distances of 5 to 10 kilometers. Their hunt becomes a grueling game of cat and mouse until the prey collapses from exhaustion. But what truly makes the spotted hyena dominate the Serengeti is its incredibly complex social structure, an absolute matriarchy. In this kingdom, the female is king, due to a surge of androgen hormones while still in the womb. Female spotted hyenas are larger, more aggressive, and completely dominate the males. Even the lowest-ranking female holds higher authority than the highest-ranking male. Their society operates on complex political alliances, demanding social intelligence on par with primates. Neuroscientists have discovered that the hyena's frontal cortex, The area responsible for reasoning and problem-solving is highly developed. They know how to coordinate attacks, recognize individuals by their calls, and hold grudges across generations. And when darkness falls, a manic laughter rings out. This isn't a laugh of joy. That signature sound is an information coding system. The pitch and frequency of the laugh reveal the individual's age, social status, and psychological state. Usually, that giggling is a sign of extreme stress, or the manic excitement of fighting over food. These peak emotions often stem from the eternal war with lions. This is the deepest feud on the savannah, driven not just by food, but by the overlapping of ecological niches. Lions kill hyenas simply to eliminate the competition. Conversely, the spotted hyena is the only species that dares to mob the king of the grasslands if they possess a numerical advantage of 4-1. A clan of hyenas is ready to rush in to steal a kill or even kill lionesses and cubs. The war between the spotted queen and the man-king is a bloody scale of power. It keeps the Serengeti in a state of dramatic equilibrium. Lurking on the periphery of that war for the throne is the silent figure of the African wild dog. In the Serengeti, sighting a pack of wild dogs is a rare moment. They are large predators, currently classified as endangered. They wander like exiles in their own homeland. Their scientific name, Lycaon pictus, means painted wolf. Each individual wears a unique coat of chaotic black, gold, and white patches. No two wild dogs possess the exact same pattern. But don't let that colourful, abstract art appearance deceive you. This is a disruptive camouflage design, helping them dissolve into the dappled light and shadow of the bush. They monitor their surroundings with massive, rounded ears that act as satellite dishes, receiving sound signals from afar. A masterpiece of evolutionary engineering. Noiseless they may be, but African wild dogs are the true assassins of the savannah. Lions hunt with a success rate of only about 25 to 30%, but the African wild dog succeeds up to 85% of the time. Once the pack decides to give chase, the prey's death warrant is practically signed. Discipline and endurance are the keys to the African wild dog's success. They enter the hunt at speeds of 60 kilometers per hour. The entire formation maintains that velocity for an absurdly long time. They take turns leading. When one tires, another moves up to take its place, creating a relay running machine that never stops. The prey doesn't die from wounds, but from sheer exhaustion. And death comes very quickly. African wild dogs eat with impressive speed. They take only a few minutes to consume their prey, ensuring they finish before lions can arrive to steal it. However, the brutality shown during the hunt stands in stark contrast to the incredible tenderness of their social life. Within the pack, altruism is the supreme law. After a successful hunt, the adults will bring food back to the den where the pups, the elderly, or the injured are waiting. No fighting over food. Pups are always given priority to eat first. Even a dog with a broken leg, unable to hunt, will be fed and nurtured. The tragedy of the African wild dog has always struck me. Their nomadic lifestyle, born of necessity because they can't defend territory against lions or hyenas, forces them to keep moving, sometimes across thousands of kilometers. But the Serengeti is shrinking, squeezed by human encroachment and climate change. With nowhere left to run, These splendid ghosts, as they're sometimes called, are slowly fading. I feel an unfillable void gradually appearing in the wild portrait of Africa. If you look closely into the tall grass, you might spot another tiny assassin, the serval. It's a small cat, almost comically perched on legs that seem far too long, like a faulty assembly product of creation. But that's deceptive, because it's a biological design perfectly optimized for hunting invisible prey. The serval has the longest legs relative to its body size of any cat. They act like biological stilts, elevating it above the ground, allowing it to move lightly and peer over the dense elephant grass that other cats can't see through. And those two giant oval ears. They function like parabolic dishes, rotating independently 180 degrees, scanning the environment for ultrasonic frequencies, sounds that the human ear can't even detect. In the dense grass, vision is almost meaningless. The serval hunts by sound. They stand as still as statues, ears constantly rotating and adjusting, performing audio triangulation to pinpoint the exact location of a mouse moving under thick grass, sometimes meters away. Once the target is locked, the serval executes its signature strike. It compresses its body and launches vertically into the air. This rainbow arc jump can reach a height of 2 to 3 meters before crashing down like an air-to-ground missile. The serval throws its entire body weight onto its front paws to deliver a stun blow to the prey. The impact force is often enough to kill or knock the rodent unconscious instantly, before it even realizes what has happened. The efficiency of this hunting machine is truly shocking. The serval achieves a kill rate of up to 50%. For every 2 attempts, one creature loses its life. This is the highest success rate among wildcats in Africa. However, competitive prix in the Serengeti has forced the serval to alter its behavior in a spectacular way. Cats are instinctively nocturnal, but here, the night belongs to brutal prides of lions and clans of hyenas. To avoid running into these bullies, the serval has shifted its biological clock to become a diurnal predator. They hunt while the lions sleep, exploiting a time slot to monopolize the food source. And that food source plays a vital role in the health of the savannah. Each serval consumes thousands of mice and rodents every year. Without this pest control squad, the rodent population would explode, devastating grassroots and seeds. The Serengeti would risk losing the green in its ecological portrait. In a world of giants, small creatures like the serval need one of 2 things to survive: invisible speed or insane recklessness. And the black-backed jackal chooses the second option. Don't let their modest size deceive you. These are not passive scavengers waiting on the sidelines of the feast. They are the most audacious street robbers of the Serengeti, daring enough to challenge death to snatch morsels of meat right from the mouth of the Lion King. This behavior is known as active kleptoparasitism. When a pride of lions is tearing into a kill, the black-backed jackal doesn't flee. On the contrary, they rush in with terrifying aggression. It's a display of cold calculation and nerves of steel. They operate in pairs or small groups, using a methodical diversionary tactic. One will run around, barking loudly, and even nipping at the lion's tail or hind legs to draw attention. When the lion turns to growl in fury, the second jackal flashes in like lightning, grabs a chunk of meat, and vanishes into the bush. It's a dance with death that the black-backed jackal has memorized every step of. The distance between a full belly and a neck-snapping slap from a lion is meed in millimeters. But the black-backed jackal rarely loses. They are too fast, too agile, and understand the psychology of their larger predators too well. However, the aggression on the battlefield hides a model family life that is rare in the animal kingdom. Black-backed jackals are faithful romantics. They practice lifelong monogamy. A couple will defend territory together, hunt together, and grow old together. But the true miracle lies in how they raise their young. The black-backed jackal applies the helpers at the den strategy. When a new litter is born, the offspring from the previous litter choose to stay. They accept the sacrifice of their own breeding opportunities for a year to help their parents raise their younger siblings. The Serengeti is a hotbed of disease. Distemper and rabies frequently sweep across the savannah like storms of death. These outbreaks have wiped out entire packs of African wild dogs and lions, but not the black-backed jackal. Their bodies possess an incredible natural resistance. They survive pandemics that kill their larger competitors. They are the ultimate survivors, tenacious creatures. The Nile crocodile. It's a creature that has existed since the time of the dinosaurs. For over 200 million years, it has hardly needed to change its biological design. When I think about that kind of staying power, I'm humbled. If the Serengeti is a battlefield, then the Grumeti and Mara rivers are deadly gauntlets, and hidden beneath those murky waters lies the patient predator. When the dry season arrives and the rivers recede, the Nile crocodile withdraws, slowing its heart rate to the absolute minimum. They can hold their breath underwater for up to 2 hours in an active state, and up to 8 hours while resting. They transform into inanimate logs, awaiting the biggest event of the year, the Great Migration, when millions of wildebeest and zebras are forced to cross the river. That's when the Nile crocodile strikes. Their snap is a masterpiece of hydraulics. Jaws generate a bite force of up to 5,000 pounds per square inch, 5 times stronger than a hyena and 8 times stronger than a lion. It's equivalent to dropping a small truck onto the prey's body. Once those conical teeth lock tight, nothing can escape. But because crocodile teeth lack cutting or chewing functions, they must tear flesh using pure physics. This is where the death roll appears. The crocodile clamps down on the prey and rolls its body along the longitudinal axis at dizzying speeds. The terrifying roll allows them to easily dismember the prey. It is a horrifying spectacle, but the only effective feeding method for them. After swallowing massive chunks of meat, the Nile crocodile activates another secret weapon, the superacid digestive system. Their stomachs secrete acid with a record low pH, strong enough to dissolve not just meat, but bone, horn, hooves, and even steel. This mechanism allows them to absorb 100% of nutrients from the prey, helping them survive for months without food. The life of this cold-blooded creature depends entirely on the sun. On scorching Serengeti afternoons, you will see these monsters lying on the riverbank with mouths gaping wide. This behavior is called gaping, and this menacing-looking action is actually how they cool down. The Nile crocodile has no sweat glands. By opening their mouths, they allow heat to escape through the moist mucous membranes, like a heat exhaust vent. Thanks to this, their brains are not cooked under the 40 degrees Celsius heat. But the biggest surprise about this cold-blooded assassin lies in the mother's heart. The Nile crocodile is one of the rare reptiles to exhibit profound maternal love. After laying eggs in sand pits along the river, the mother will fast and guard the nest for 3 full months. She resolutely protects her unborn brood against egg thieves, like monitor lizards or baboons. When the eggs hatch, the mother's jaws, with their terrifying bite force, become surprisingly gentle. She uses those very jaws to gently scoop up each tiny hatchling and release them safely into the water. The tenderness of this monster is a beautiful paradox, a reminder that in the wild, brutality and love always walk side by side to sustain life. The ecological tapestry of the Serengeti is not woven by predators alone. The landscape continuously reshaped by the impact of giant grazing machines. We call them the architects. Without them, the Serengeti ecosystem we know today would collapse, vanishing beneath impenetrable thorny thickets. The African bush elephant is one of them. They survive in the Serengeti without the need for fangs or claws. Standing 4 meters tall and weighing up to 6 tons, they are massive living walls. Even the fiercest predators must tread carefully before such a colossal stature. The African bush elephant holds a critical role in the Serengeti ecosystem. Scientists call them a keystone species. If elephants were removed, the Serengeti would collapse. The reason is that they are brilliant landscape architects. To maintain that massive muscle mass, an adult elephant must consume up to 300 kg of vegetation daily. In the process of eating, they act as heavy demolition machines. They topple trees, snap large branches, and trample thickets. By preventing vegetation from growing too dense, the African bush elephant stops the savanna from turning into a closed forest. They tear open spaces, allowing sunlight to reach the ground so grass can grow. This is a precious food source for millions of antelopes and zebras. Without elephants, there would be no vast open plains for the cheetah to sprint. In the dry season, when rivers turn to dust, African bush elephants become hydraulic engineers. Using their tusks and dexterous trunks, they dig deep holes in dry riverbeds to seek out underground aquifers. These elephant wells are the only lifeline for the entire animal community. After the elephants finish drinking, lions, hyenas, and even small birds finally get a chance to access this precious water source. Anatomically, the African bush elephant possesses 2 unique evolutionary tools, the tusks and the flexible trunk. Tusks are actually elongated in sizes that grow continuously throughout life. They are crowbars for digging roots, weapons for combat, and tools for stripping baobab bark. Meanwhile, the trunk is a marvel of biological engineering. With not a single bone, the trunk is composed of over 40,000 separate muscle fascicles. It is strong enough to lift a 300-kilogram tree trunk. Yet, the tip is delicate enough to pick up a tiny grass seed. However, physical strength is only half the story. The African bush elephant rules the Serengeti through wisdom and connection. Elephant society is a strict matriarchy. The herd is led by the oldest female, the matriarch. She is not the strongest, but she is the living library of the herd. The African bush elephant's brain has a massively developed temporal lobe where spatial memories are stored. The matriarch remembers the matriarch elephant. I find myself often thinking about her. To hold within her mind the map of survival, every waterhole, every safe route across 60 years. During droughts, she is the map for her entire clan. It's a humbling responsibility, and they communicate in ways we can barely imagine. African bush elephants use infrasound, sounds so low we can't hear them. These waves travel for kilometers through forests and hills. Even more remarkable, they hear with their feet, feeling vibrations through fatty pads. A herd can detect another's footsteps or danger from 10 kilometers away. An underground internet of sorts. They also possess an emotional life as complex as our own. Passing the bones of a lost relative, the herd stops. They gently touch the skull and tusks with their trunks, silent and solemn. In the wild Serengeti, the elephant embodies memory, wisdom, the soul of the continent. Then there's Retinapool in Seronera. From a distance, it looks like giant grey boulders resting in the river. But as you get closer, the stench and guttural growls reveal the truth. Hundreds of hippos packed together, creating what's known as hippo soup. The hippopotamus is one of the most misunderstood creatures. They look rotund, slow, comical, but they are the most aggressive amphibious tanks on the continent. Hippos can't swim, despite living in the water. Their bones are too dense. They sink. Instead, they gallop along the riverbed, like astronauts in low gravity, using the water's buoyancy to bound gracefully, even at 1.5 to 3 tons. Their dependence on water comes from their sensitive skin. Under the Serengeti sun, it would crack and dehydrate in minutes. So, nature equipped them with a unique sunscreen. You'll see red, blood-like droplets oozing from their skin. It's blood sweat, a mucus secretion with acidic pigments. Hipposudoric acid acts as both sunscreen, absorbing UV rays, and a powerful antiseptic, protecting them from infection in murky waters. But the real danger lies in their mouths. At Retinapool, you see hippos opening their mouths wide. That's the threat yawn, jaws opening to 150 degrees, displaying lower canines up to 50 centimetre long, sharp as razors. It's a final warning. If ignored, they attack with a bite force nearing 2,000 pounds per square inch, snapping crocodiles or crushing small boats. They are the deadliest large mammal in Africa. The hippo of the day and the hippo of the night seem different. By day, they are social, gathering to cool off. But when the sun sets, they leave the water, becoming solitary. In the dark, they follow familiar paths, hippo highways, walking 10 kilometers and consuming 40 kg of grass each night. Their role as ecological engineers lies in nutrient transport. They graze on land and defecate in the water. Tons of organic matter nourish the aquatic ecosystem, feeding fish and insects, sustaining the river. And their relationship with the Nile crocodile is a tense peace treaty. Crocodiles sunbathe on hippos' backs, respect rooted in fear. An adult crocodile may be king of the river, but against a furious male hippo, it's merely a brittle twig. Size and madness are the law, and the hippo is the supreme judge. If the Serengeti is a colossal living organism, then the wildebeest are the hot blood flowing ceaselessly through its veins. They are the heartbeat that shapes the rhythm of the entire ecosystem. With up to 1.5 million individuals, they constitute the largest animal biomass on the savannah. From above, their migrating army looks like a river of black ink surging through a sea of golden grass, an unstoppable force of nature. Their first role is that of biological lawnmowers. Wildebeest possess broad muzzles, designed to graze on short, nutritious grass close to the ground. Every day, they consume over 4,000 tons of grass. This stimulates the grass to grow back faster and stronger. They also deposit about 500 tons of dung daily, a massive amount of fertilizer that helps regenerate nutrients for the arid soil. Without them, the Serengeti grasslands would become overgrown, dry out, and become prone to fires, shattering the food chain. But the true miracle lies in their swarm intelligence. The wildebeest have no leader. No alpha gives the orders. Instead, they operate as a superorganism. Every movement is based on crowd consensus and the instinct to seek rain. They can smell moisture and phosphorus in young grass from 50 kilometers away. When one starts running toward the rain, millions follow. This chaotic movement is a perfect survival algorithm. In a crowd of millions, the probability of an individual being eaten by a lion drops to the absolute minimum. I find myself constantly amazed by the synchronized birthing of the wildebeest. Every February, on the mineral-rich volcanic plains, it's a mathematical miracle. Within just 3 weeks, around 500,000 calves are born. That's like 8,000 births every single day. It's a survival strategy, a flood of easy prey for lions, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs. They eat until they can eat no more, but they simply can't consume such a colossal number in such a short time. And as a result, most of the new generation makes it through the most dangerous phase. The calves themselves are biological marvels, genetically programmed to flee from the moment they're born. A newborn wildebeest can stand within 7 minutes, and after just 20, they can run with the herd. At a steady pace, the wildebeest becomes a winner in the game of evolution. They transform individual weakness into the collective strength. They are, in many ways, the very life source, the driving force, and the eternal soul of the Serengeti. If the wildebeest are the diligent workers, then the plain zebras are the courageous pioneers. They're always the vanguard, charging into the tallest and densest grassy areas. This pathfinder role comes from the plain zebra's unique digestive system. Unlike the wildebeest, which requires young grass, the zebra is a hindgut fermenter. Their stomachs are designed to process old, tough, and nutrient-poor grasses. They eat the rough, straw-like tops, clearing the surface layer to reveal the tender green shoots beneath. But perhaps their most striking feature, the black and white striped coat, remains one of evolution's greatest mysteries. These stripes create a motion dazzle effect. When thousands of zebras move together, the black and white stripes blend, creating a chaotic optical illusion. For a lion, a predator that relies on locking onto a single individual, this scene is like looking at static on a television screen. They can't distinguish head from tail, or where one animal ends and the next begins. The latest research, from this year even, reinforces the idea that zebra stripes are a shield against tsetse flies and blood-sucking horseflies. The light-reflecting structure of the stripes disrupts the insect's navigation systems, making it difficult for them to land. In an ecosystem rife with pathogens, it's the most advanced biological hazmat suit imaginable. Beneath that uniform exterior lies a tight and disciplined social structure. Plain zebras don't live in a disorganized mob. They live in harems consisting of a dominant male, several females, and their foals. When pursued by lions, the male often runs at the rear or breaks away to distract the enemy, so his family can escape. His weapon is the legendary rear kick. A zebra's kick can generate an impact force of nearly 3,000 pounds per square inch, strong enough to shatter a lion's jaw or break a hyena's ribs. The plain zebra's vigilance is evident even in sleep. Thanks to the stay apparatus mechanism in their legs, they can sleep standing up without expending energy to maintain muscle balance. This posture allows them to switch from sleep to a full sprint in a split second if an alarm sounds. And to optimize defense, the plain zebra has established a strategic alliance with the ostrich. It's a perfect fusion of senses. The zebra has extremely sensitive smell and hearing, but limited low-level vision. Conversely, the ostrich has large, keen eyes and a height advantage, acting as a mobile observation tower, but a poor sense of smell. When together, they form a comprehensive early warning radar system. If the ostrich starts running, the zebra follows without asking questions. If the zebra stops to sniff the wind and looks anxious, the ostrich immediately goes on high alert. This interspecies cooperation makes them the toughest targets for any predator seeking the element of surprise. In the Morukopias area, where ancient granite boulders rise like fortresses amidst a sea of grass, hides a living relic from the prehistoric era, a creature designed to endure, to fight, and to destroy. That is the black rhinoceros, though a more accurate name describing its true biological function might be the hooked-lip rhinoceros. This pointed, flexible upper lip is a marvel of evolution. It acts like a prehensile finger, allowing the black rhinoceros to perform surgical operations on thorny bushes. Their favorite food is the whistling thorn. This plant is armed with 7-centimeter-long thorns, hard as steel and sharp as hypodermic needles. Any other animal touching them would suffer a shredded mouth, but not the black rhinoceros. With lip skin as thick as rubber and precise muscle control, they deftly weave through the thorns. The goal is the nutritious young leaves. Sometimes they simply crush the thorns with their powerful grinding jaws. However, the most famous characteristic of the black rhinoceros is its legendary short temper. This is the most solitary, suspicious, and easily provoked animal in the Serengeti. A mature black rhinoceros weighs about 1.4 tons. It is a block of armored muscle. When it feels threatened, it does not run away. It seeks to eliminate the threat. From a standstill, this 1.4-ton tank can accelerate to 55 kilometers per hour. The kinetic energy it generates in a charge is equivalent to a small truck hitting a wall at high speed. Lions or buffalo standing in its path will be tossed aside or punctured by the front horn, made of solid keratin. This aggressive nature stems from the black rhinoceros's eyes. Their vision is only effective within 30 meters. To them, the visual world is a collection of blurry, threatening shapes. They cannot clearly distinguish whether the shadow ahead is a tree, a lion, or a vehicle. Therefore, they often launch a preemptive strike. Aggression is, in reality, a defense mechanism born of fear. To compensate for poor eyesight, the black rhinoceros's hearing and smell are incredibly acute. The black rhinoceros sees the world through smell. That's a thought that stayed with me long after I first encountered it. They construct these complex olfactory maps, marking territories with dung and urine. It's a world of scent that we can barely imagine. In the Serengeti's Morucopches, the black rhinoceros finds its last stronghold, the rugged terrain offering cover from poachers. They are a symbol of ancient tenacity, a reminder that this land has no room for weakness. But if you want to talk about pure rage-embodied, look to the African buffalo. Professional hunters call them the Black Death or the Widowmaker, and it's easy to see why. Their horns are massive, curved like hooks. But the most terrifying feature is the boss, the fused horn bases forming a solid bone shield. I've read that this natural helmet is so hard it can deflect a rifle bullet. When they attack, they use that boss like a sledgehammer, fracturing ribs before tossing their opponent with those sharp horns. The society of the African buffalo is divided. There are the breeding herds, sometimes numbering up to 1,000 individuals, a mobile fortress guided by what scientists call crowd intelligence. It's fascinating. Apparently, when resting, the adult females face the direction they want to go, and the direction with the most votes becomes the herd's path. This consensus helps them find the best pastures and safest water sources. Then there are the outcasted, the dagger boys. Old males, past their prime, defeated and expelled. They cluster in small groups, wallowing in mud. But don't underestimate them. These dagger boys are dangerous, ready to strike preemptively against anything that invades their space. Perhaps the clearest example of their ferocity is in their mobbing tactic. They are the only herbivores in Africa that actively hunt down predators. When they hear the distress call of a calf caught by a lion, the herd doesn't flee. They counterattack. Hundreds of tons of meat and horn charge forward, surrounding the lions, cutting off escape routes, driving them up a tree or trampling them. In the Serengeti, lions kill buffalo for food, but buffalo kill lions out of what seems like pure hatred. They stop eating. They lift their heads, wet nostrils flaring to smell your fear. Their black eyes lock onto you with cold contempt, calculating, assessing, weighing whether to turn you into dust. It's in that moment that you understand why no animal, including humans, wants to mess with the Black Death. Then there's the Maasai giraffe, towering at 5.5 meters, a living watchtower of the Serengeti. Their dark brown spots, jagged like grape leaves, distinguish them from their northern relatives. Their greatest physical challenge is pumping blood to a brain located so far above the heart. To achieve this, their heart is a supercharged engine, weighing up to 11 kilograms, with ventricular walls 8 centimeters thick. It generates blood press 2.5 times higher than a human's. But when they lower their head to drink, gravity-driven blood press rushes to the brain. To prevent burst blood vessels, their neck vein system contains a complex network of one-way valves and a structure called the rete mirabile, acting as a shock absorber. and every time they bend down to quench their thirst, they are, in a way, arboreal surgeons. Their favorite food is the leaves of the acacia tree, protected by long, sharp thorns. The giraffe's harvesting tool is a tongue reaching up to 50 centimeters, as flexible as a finger, and covered in a thick, glue-like saliva that coats the thorns. That tongue is purple-black or blue-black. They spend 12 hours a day sticking their tongue out under the equatorial sun, so that dense concentration of melanin acts as a biological sunscreen. But the life of a Maasai giraffe is not always peaceful. Males often engage in brutal battles called necking. They stand parallel, swinging their 2-meter-long necks like demolition cranes. The head, armed with rock-hard ossicones, becomes a wrecking ball, striking the opponent's ribs. The force can fracture ribs, shatter jaws, or knock the opponent unconscious. The winner gains mating rights. The loser leaves with injuries that may lead to death. And even their birth begins with a traumatic shock, as the mother gives birth standing, meaning the calf's first moment is a fall to the earth. Imagine a free fall from 2 meters onto hard ground. That's how a giraffe calf enters the world. It looks cruel, but that impact is necessary. It tears the amniotic sac, severs the umbilical cord, and shocks the lungs into taking their first breath. In the Serengeti, that calf must stand and run within 30 minutes. If not, it becomes a meal for lions or hyenas lurking nearby. With eyes the size of golf balls and 360-degree vision, the Maasai giraffe acts as an early warning system for the entire plain. When zebras or antelopes see the giraffe start to run, they know not to ask why. They simply follow. Trust in this living watchtower is one of the most fundamental rules of survival here. From the scattered rocky outcrops around the Mopane woodlands, a sound rings out, loud and decisive, breaking the silence of the early morning. It's the call of the Cape baboon, one of the largest, smartest, and most socially organized primates in southern Africa. They start their day with confidence and commotion, as if this land is their well-known domain, where every step has already been mapped out in their minds. In the Luangwa Valley, chacma baboons are commonly found around rocky highlands, forest edges, and buffer zones near the river. Adult males can weigh up to 40 kilograms and measure over 1.2 meters in length, nearly 3 times the average weight of a female. Their fur ranges from brownish grey to ash grey, sometimes with a thicker mane around the neck, helping them blend easily into the dusty red terrain, rocky outcrops, and short grasslands. They live in troops ranging from 20 to 80 individuals, led by a dominant male who guides movement, offers protection, and maintains order. This social structure is highly flexible, held together through behaviors like grooming, food sharing, and caring for the young. These strong social bonds not only help the troop stay united when faced with predators, but also foster a community with a remarkable capacity for learning and adaptation. As true omnivores, chacma baboons consume nearly anything digestible in their environment, from grasses, roots, fruits, and tender leaves, to seeds, insects, bird eggs, and small animals like lizards, mice, and nestlings. Their flexibility in food choices is one of the key factors that allows them to thrive across a wide range of habitats, from open woodlands to semi-deserts, and even mountainous regions. In central Luangwa, They often track the seasonal changes of available resources, especially fruiting trees along the Luangwa River or near wetlands during the rainy season. When the dry season arrives, baboon troops retreat to higher ground areas with clear vantage points and rugged terrain that help them steer clear of predators like leopards. Though they are prey animals, chacma baboons have been observed coordinating group responses for defense, especially when their young are under threat. Cape baboons use more than 30 distinct vocalizations, combined with facial expressions and body postures, to signal warnings, coordinate movement, or express emotion within the troop. Behavioral studies by the Wildlife Conservation Society during the 2023 to 2024 period confirmed that the body language of chacma baboons can shift depending on social context, terrain, and the relationships between individuals in the group. Their communication abilities are considered among the most complex of any non-human primate species. This challenge becomes even more daunting in the modern era, as the Serengeti faces immense mounting press. The first and most devastating threat is climate change. The engine that drives life, the rain, but that engine is beginning to falter. Meteorological data from 2020 to the present reveals that rainfall cycles are becoming chaotic and unpredictable. Droughts are lasting longer and becoming more intense. The Mara River is witnessing water levels drop to historic lows due to upstream deforestation and excessive evaporation. If the Mara River runs dry, the Great Migration will collapse. Millions of antelopes will die of thirst before reaching the green pastures, triggering the demise of the predators that depend on them. The second threat comes from human prey. Populations in the buffer zones surrounding the Serengeti have quadrupled in just a few decades. The encroachment of agriculture and livestock grazing is choking off ancient migration corridors. Human-wildlife conflict is reaching a boiling point, and in the shadows, another silent war is being waged: snare poaching. With no noisy gunfire, poachers use thousands of wire snares fashioned from motorcycle brake cables. These are invisible assassins. According to reports from the Frankfurt Zoological Society, patrol teams remove thousands of these traps every year. These snares do not discriminate. From antelope and zebra to lions, leopards, and elephants, all can become victims, suffering a slow, agonizing death. The Serengeti is no longer an isolated island of creation. It is buckling under the weight of human development. However, the hope to save the Serengeti remains unbroken. The battle to protect the Serengeti has entered a high-tech era. Tanzanian national park authorities are implementing unprecedented protection measures. Drones and surveillance camera systems are deployed to root out poaching camps deep within the bush. GPS tracking collars are fitted onto large animals like elephants, lions, and black rhinos. These allow scientists to monitor population movements in real time and intervene immediately if an animal enters a danger zone. The desnaring program is delivering tangible results. Thanks to international cooperation, specialized anti-snaring teams successfully rescue hundreds of animals each year, returning them to the wild. More importantly, conservation strategy is shifting towards the community. Ecotourism is becoming There's one place left where I feel like I can still hear the wild heartbeat of this planet. It thunders through the hooves of millions of migrating creatures. That place is the Serengeti. Protecting it isn't just about saving a park in Africa. For me, it's about preserving the memory of humanity. I've been reading about how the Serengeti is becoming a primary source of income for local people, and it's fascinating to see the shift. They're transforming from potential poachers into the most ardent guardians of the land. When a living lion brings economic value 100 times greater than the skin of a dead one, true conservation becomes sustainable. The Serengeti is the final living testament to the earth in its primeval state. It's a place unlike any other.